Hello, everybody. I just did an interview with Sandra Fazio, and I realized the theme for this interview was so much tied to the profile, the 3-5, and how interesting it was to look at the profile really through the lens of the profile and also seeing how that relates to other profiles. And I feel like there's so much richness in just knowing the profile, right? In just those lines that are in our personality, sun and earth, and our unconscious sun and earth. And that there's also so much that has to do with team dynamics or relationship, like what happens when a 3-5 relates with a 4-6. And even in my own life recently, I have this example of how somehow the lines are always kind of a reaction to each other. So the fourth line is like kind of reaction, is spiral dynamics, right? So the line over is a reaction to the line before. The first line is all about being introvert, and then the second line is all about the marriage and merging with the other, and the third line again is more fiery, the warrior, the individual again. And then we have the fourth line, the heart, that comes in and says, it's just love. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is love. And then we have the heretic that comes in the fifth line, and it's like expressing their truth with impact, and it's their truth, and they can even be burned at stake for it because it's so individual. It's what they are seeing in the world. It's what they see the solution as being. And then we have the sixth line that kind of contains all the line, but it has this vision, and that somehow is a reaction for the fifth line of being like, it's about the higher values. It's not about an individual's truth. Even if you're impactful and powerful, it's about the values, the higher truth. So I see these spiral dynamics playing out with the lines, and then that we all have a we all have a combination of two lines, and then it creates this unique blueprint together with all our gene keys. And what I am interested in is that, first of all, when I speak to 3-5, it's like, how do you break the veil? And this is where we are in the deep dive as well. How do we how do we go through the veil from the conscious, the life's work and the radiance, into the unconscious, to the soul, to the body, in the radiance and the purpose? How do we break the veil from the line of the personality into the line of the radiance and the culture? And for the 3-5, I feel like it's such a powerful journey, because for a 3-5, it's so easy to stay in that trial and error that the third line brings forever, and that kind of the individual being in the world, interacting, falling down, being resilient, being robust, getting up again, and to just stay in the chaoticness, in the dynamism of the third line, and not coming into the impact and the voice and the power of the fifth line, which is the radiance of the purpose, and knowing that the core stability lies in that pathway between the radiance and the purpose. So what happens when we don't break the veil? We live our whole life just being one line, when actually our activation sequence, our incarnation cross, our profile is made up of two lines. So this is something so interesting to me, and I can see, of course, the similar thing with all the profiles, that there is this, the challenge and the breaking through. And I'm also so interested in hearing and feeling into what does it mean to have one profile interacting with another, and kind of putting, making this, I almost like want to make a table, but like, what does it mean when a 1-3 interacts with a with a 2-4? What does it mean when a 1-3 interacts? And do it for all of the profiles, because I think there are dynamics that are, we have 12 profiles, and then the combinations, there's many different combinations when two people interact, but to just feel into what that means. And also, if we have, for example, I have a lot of 5-1s in my life, I have a lot of 6-2s in my life, and I start to see the dynamics that play out, and of course how they are different, but also the dynamics that play out with me as a 4-6 with them. And knowing that some of the lines are harmonic, so everything that is in the first trigram, so the first line of the first trigram is harmonic with the first line of the second trigram. 1 and 4 are harmonic. The same thing with 2 and 5 and 3 and 6. So when we have two profiles and we have the harmonic lines, it's an easier way usually in the interaction. But when we have, for example, the 3-5 and the 4-6, like the 4 is a reaction of the 3, they're not harmonic, and then the 5 and the 6 the same thing, then it creates a kind of friction. And it's also an enormous possibility and opportunity for learning. when we have that. So I'm just curious and excited to see what maybe if we would do like a series or interviews or something, like what does relationship mean? First of all, how do you break through from the conscious to the unconscious? How do you include your radiance and your purpose? How do you make the dance between the conscious and the unconscious? Because that's when we find our core stability. That's when we really can be grounded into our inner purpose. That's when we can start to unlock the rest of the profile. And then the other thing that kind of fueled me today was like, what does it mean to have different profiles that are interacting, and what can we see as like typical patterns when a 1-3 interacts with a 6-3, for example, or and maybe especially what are the patterns when we have those the dissonant profiles, the 3-5 and the 4-6, for example, or the what could it be, the 2-5 and the 1-4, these kinds of things. I'm wondering how that could look like, and I would also love to have comments just on this post, like, who is your closest relationship? What is that profile? What does that mean to you? If you are, if you're a 1-4 and you're together with a 6-3, what have you learned just if you focus on the profile and nothing else? Those are the stories I would like to hear. And also, how do you break through the veil? Thank you.